Hey guys! So as some of you know, I do almost all of my own fursuit work. I made this head. I have 3 other suits that I've done, but I really like to use bits and pieces that are made by other makers. So in today's video, I wanted to show you guys some DIY patterns I like, work from other makers that I like that you can use to make some of your own fursuit parts. I had a couple in here. I won't have examples of all of our options, but I do have examples of a couple. I'll provide links to the makers and whatnot below. Let's get right into it. Okay, so the first pattern I want to talk about today that you can purchase online is by, I want to say it's by Fursuiters. I'll have information here. I'll put the information in the description. You can link to purchase it. That pattern, I believe, is a $5 pattern. Super cheap. You can print it at home by yourself. It's a paw pattern. I don't have an example of it. I do have some paws I've made using the pattern. They're just not completed yet. But it's a really great pattern. Very low cost. Please pay artists for their work. Please, I'm begging you. $5. With that, it comes with instructions. It comes with all the pieces you're going to need. It comes with how to cut them out effectively, etc. Kloof, as a fursuit maker and artist, has a really long history of benefiting members of our community with all the information they have and their willingness to share. They have a whole bunch of other really great patterns on their Etsy. That's a pattern I really, really recommend. I hate making paws. I don't know why. They're the hardest thing in the world for me. But their pattern was one of the easiest I found to understand. I do have a lot of sewing experience, but their pattern, it was easy to read, easy to use, easy to cut out. It even involved doing applique, which is really kind of difficult, but with their pattern, I don't know, it was understandable. So that's one I'd really recommend. Make yourself some paws. I don't have an example because I don't have a finished set by them with that pattern, but really, really great pattern I'd recommend. Okay, so the next DIY item I have here, I actually do have an example here. So this whole foot, there is a pattern for online. I want to say it's by Yellow Freak, I think. It's on Gumroad. This one is $5 as well, but the pattern is for this whole foot. So this is a wearable sock paw, obviously. I altered some of it. So I did outdoor feet paws. I don't really have a need for indoor feet paws, but this pattern is great. You can see it's unfinished. There's a lining sticking out up top here, but I really think highly of this pattern. I've wanted feet paws forever, but if you're anything like me, you tend to make your own things anyway. This pattern allowed me to be able to make my own, which I really appreciate. Also, so the pattern itself, I had a really difficult time working around just because the instructions that come with it didn't really make any sense. I have a lot of sewing experience. There is a video in the instructions once you purchase them. But once I got through that, just because of my sewing experience, I had an okay time. If you do not have sewing experience, this pattern is going to be pretty difficult. It's just the nature of the pattern. There's a lot of things that you need to turn inside out more than once, more than one layer of like lining at the bottom of the foot, more than one layer of padding inside of it, the pieces fitting together correctly, etc. It's not that it's not explained well, it's just this is a complicated project. And then going off of it, the sizing that they recommend, the way to measure it, I couldn't figure out at all. I ended up emailing them. They responded back. They were super helpful. But yeah, it was tricky. If you can figure out how to get the pattern to print correctly to the size you need, it's wonderful. I did, but I ended up ignoring the instructions I was given completely and freeballing it, and it worked. But the end result is great. Like, this is a good foot. Yeah, very sturdy. Great. Again, it's a paid pattern. Please pay your artists. Don't try to get it off somebody else for free. They deserve money for, you know, people, things, but really, really great pattern that I'd recommend for those who would like to make their own stuff. It is more challenging, but the end result is great. Like, these are, I haven't gotten to wear them out yet. They're not quite done, like I said, but great pattern that I would really recommend. Okay, so last one I would recommend, I do have an example of. It is a not great example. This is the first paw I ever made. But this is a free pattern also by Yellow Freak. I'll post a link as well down in the comments and whatnot, or not in the comments, the description, but it doesn't matter. So, it's a paw pattern. It's a very flat, sad paw. This is the first paw I ever made. This pattern is, like I said, it's free. It's fine. I just fudged it up a ton, so I have this sad, flat paw. Yellow Freak has a bunch of great patterns on their website as well. I just am bad at paws. I hate doing paws so much. I couldn't tell you why. It's a free option, available online. I did it poorly. Well, it's not that bad. Hold on, let me show you. So what happened to me, it's not terrible. It's just a really thin paw. So it's great for like when I go to bowling meets. I can wear these instead because my larger paws for jelly, you can't really get a hold of anything. So it's just a thinner paw. There's a lot that I did wrong. I did the seam allowance wrong. I did a couple other things wrong, but this is definitely a more expressive paw. I didn't stuff it. It doesn't have a liner. I didn't know how to do those things yet, but it's nice if you need a thinner paw for something. It's definitely much more mobile. Again, there's a bunch that I did wrong, but this paw pattern, I definitely recommend it. I think it's really cool looking. I just screwed it up, so what are you gonna do? So those are 3 patterns that I found online or that I've used personally that I would really recommend if you're somebody like me who really likes to make most of your own suit stuff. Most of them are paid. Again, please pay your artists. Don't try to get them free off of somebody else. They're really low cost. Some patterns cost like 20 bucks, 12 bucks. They're really charging reasonable rates. You can also size them yourself, which is great. You can print them at home. It's as low cost as it can get. So please, please, please pay your artists. Use the patterns, show them what you've done, tag them, leave good reviews on Etsy if you liked the pattern or it worked well. And in my experience, the artists that did the ones that I had mentioned, I have been able to contact with questions, which is super helpful. So yeah, give them a try. If you'd like to make some of your own stuff, sourcing patterns before you can make your own, or if you don't want to make your own, it's a great way to get some cool fursuit stuff if you're like me and you make it yourself.